Hello and welcome to the Discriminating Gamer, the board game review show that is happy to be back after its brief hiatus and is delighted to report that it passed its comprehensive examinations, both oral and written, and is now ABD in its PhD program. Ladies and gentlemen, now let's go ahead and take a look at Railroad Rivals from Forbidden Games. In Railroad Rivals from Forbidden Games, 1 to 5 players is going to attempt to create a vast railroad network, but also at the same time carefully manipulate stock prices to their own benefit. How the game works is essentially you don't have a board, this is a tile laying game, but you do have a scoreboard which keeps track of your points throughout the game. Now, the beginning player is going to start with a certain amount of points, subsequent players will each get a little bit more points to kind of balance the game out a little bit. But every round, essentially what is going to happen is you are going to draw from a stack of city tiles and a stack of stock tiles. You're going to draw equal to the number of players. So if you have a 4-player game, you're going to draw 4 city tiles and 4 stock tiles. And you're going to go ahead and place them out there for everyone to see. Then what you're going to do is actually bid on turn order. So you don't do this the first time, but in subsequent times what you're going to do is you'll go ahead and you'll actually bid your points. You'll say, I bid 3 points. The next person has to, of course, get higher than your bid, and of course you can pass. You don't have to bid anything. Whoever wins the bid loses those points, and he goes to the first player slot, but the other players don't change except for they move down. They remain relative to each other except for the new first player. So what's going to happen is after you have bid on the first player, that first player then is going to get the chance to be the first to select either a city tile or a stock tile. He's going to pick one, you're going to go around, everybody can pick one or the other, and then you go around again picking another one, but it has to be the opposite one. It has to be, if you pick city the first time, it has to be stock the next time. After you've drafted the tiles, what you do is you go ahead and you place the tile on the board. Now, when you place a tile, a few things are going to happen. As you build the city, or rather as you build your train lines around the cities, each tile has the name of a specific railroad company on the side. The railroad company name has to match the railroad company of another tile, so you have to put those down so that they match each other in that way. Then what you do is you place what color of your train in between those tiles, so you know that it is your trains that link those 2 tiles between each other. Next, every tile has in the corner a number. That number is how many goods you're going to place on it. The goods are different cubes. These are different colored cubes that you're going to lay down on top of the tile there. So once you've gone ahead and you lay down all the tiles, and everybody's had a chance to lay down a tile, lay down the train, set the goods on the tiles, next you're going to actually do the delivery phase. Now how the delivery phase works is you're each going to deliver 1 good, just 1 good. And you can do that anywhere on the board. It doesn't have to be on one of your railroads. And what you can do is you just move 1 good from one location to another location. Now this is important because what's going to happen is, first of all, you're going to score points based on, are you the first person to move that color? You'll get the most points. If you're the second person to move that color, you'll get slightly less points. If you're the third person, slightly less points. So you're going to be paying attention to that. But also, if you use somebody else's train, you are going to use someone else's railroad line, you are going to give them, they'll get, I think, a couple of points for that as well. So why would you want to move goods along other people's rail lines? Well, as I say, first of all, you may get more points by moving a certain color. But also, critically too, is as you move along the different rail lines, you're also increasing the stock of that specific rail line, and you're actually keeping track of these stocks on the scoreboard. So you're seeing how much the score for each stock is increasing. Every time you move a stock across a certain rail line, that rail line goes up one level in its stock worth. So as you're moving and delivering goods, you're not just scoring points off the board, you are driving up certain stock prices. Now this is important because when you draft those stocks in subsequent turns, you're going to be paying attention to what is the most expensive, and you're going to be wanting to try to get those stocks in your pile. So essentially, you go around and around doing this. You bid for turn order, you draft the tiles, you place the tiles, you deliver goods, and you watch those stocks go up and up. Now, eventually, what's going to happen is you're going to hit the end game. Now, after there are fewer city stocks and there are fewer city tiles than stock tiles. When you run out of city tiles, then you just put out double the stock tiles, and you just keep selecting stocks. Now, as soon as a person places their last city tile, that triggers the end game. Everybody can go and finish that round, and then you are done. And then you go ahead and you score. Now, of course, you've been building up scores for the deliveries that you've been making, but now you're going to look at the stocks. Essentially, for every stock tile that you have, you're going to score as many points as it says on the stock scoreboard. So you're going to go ahead, you're going to add up all of those points, and whoever has the most points is the winner of Railroad Rivals. So Railroad Rivals is a pretty simple, easy to learn, easy to play railroad game, and it's not so much a railroad game as it is a stock manipulation game. The railroad component is I don't want to say it's light, but it's light, I guess. But to me, this is much more of just a stock manipulation game, an economic game, than it is kind of a railroad game, because you're not kind of creating rail paths, like in some other games, and doing stuff like that, so much as you are simply just trying to manipulate the tiles and the rail lines in order to increase stock values and to determine what stock values you're going to get, and that's fine. But just know that going into it. I got to tell you, one thing I really like about this game is as you're playing it, as you're beginning to play it, of course, it's about laying the tiles and kind of building the map and placing your things. You're trying to score points based simply on movement and delivery. And then, of course, there's that big risk factor of in the bidding. Do I really want to bid that much? Is going first worth it to me? Can I get what I need out of that first player slot that's going to compensate me for what I lose during bidding? Is it worth it? And you're kind of doing the math in your head that way. But you never know. There's always chances and other things that can pop up along with that. But critically, too, where this game shines is as you're playing as you're moving those stocks, or you're moving the goods, and you're putting the goods out there and moving them, you kind of have to calculate then not how many points so much that's going to get you immediately, but what is that going to do to stock? And do I really want to give this guy a couple of points to use his train if it means getting me, and even take a hit on immediate points if it's going to really raise the certain stocks? And really, that's what the game becomes about. How do I boost the value of the stocks I already have? How do I try to prevent, how do I not, I don't want to see certain other stocks go up because I know other people have them. How do I make that work? And that's really where the game works. That's really where it comes together and works quite well. I enjoyed this game. This is not, this is not typically a game the kind of game that I jump up and I shout and I love, but I enjoy it. It's fun. It's not a very long game. And it's once you get it, it's boom, 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 boom. It's pretty quick. It's pretty easy. It's pretty straightforward. This is a good lighter game if you're just looking for kind of some fun, economic stock manipulation game. This is really enjoyable. I got a kick out of it. Is it everybody's cup of tea? Probably not. Like I said, this is not one that I'm going to reach for constantly, but I can see myself playing this again and again when I do, and really enjoying it and having a lot of fun with my friends. So the recommendation for the discriminating gamer for Railroad Rivals is buy it. Thank you once again for joining us today on The Discriminating Gamer. As always, we ask you to please leave a comment for us on YouTube, on Board Game Geek, on our Facebook page, or on thediscriminatinggamer.com. We ask you to please like us on Facebook, subscribe to us on YouTube, and follow us on Twitter. We are The Discriminating Gamer, and I got to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to take a minute to say thank you to everybody, on Facebook and in the comments and here on YouTube who said, I was in your prayers, or who gave me kind words of encouragement. I really appreciate that. It's so nice to have those tests behind me. And now, the dissertation.
Please somebody help me on my feet again, and I don't know where I'm going, and I don't know where I've been. Please somebody help me.
one OCD to another, there will be payback.